Go. You're alive.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Hi, hello, good evening. I'm Pedro Meyer. I'm one of the co-founders of the Wagon in Latin America. Really happy to have with us Briyan Cessac, uh, who's
Hello, guys.
who's the CEO of Screenshot. I met Briyan here in Paris not long ago. Actually, he's a student of Le Wagon alumni, so ancient student. He was hosting one of the NFT meetup here in Paris. Everybody was amazed, especially in Le Wagon. We were hosting it. It was beautiful. A lot of fresh faces right out of the confinement. So it was really cool to see all these people together coming out of this big NFT bloom that we all experienced since January. So I'll leave actually Briyan to introduce himself for you. So the idea of this is we do like a 40 minutes more or less one-on-one conversation with Briyan, like no presentations, just more about like talking about his experience, how he like landed on this, he's been doing, what are his plans and what are his views and what's going on and what's gonna happen, which is hard to say. Well, we're almost like hitting a new all-time high on Bitcoin as we speak. So that could be pretty interesting. And then we open for like 15 or 20 minutes questions if you have. We're going to do this in English because Briyan, unfortunately, doesn't speak enough Portuguese, but he's learning. So I've heard. He was just in Rio like a few days ago, I think, or yeah, days. And yeah, so this is gonna how it's gonna happen. So feel free to send your comments. Victor is going to be on behind the curtains relaying us some of your questions. We also have a couple of students in the Zoom with us. But yeah, feel free to ask your questions. Briyan, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. And if you could just start with introducing yourself and what you've been doing and how you landed in this amazing and promising futuristic dystopian metaverse that we're heading towards, and then we'll go from there. Thanks so much for being
Cool.
here.
Yeah, no, cool, guys. Thank you very much for inviting, actually. So yeah, but definitely I speak just a little bit of Portuguese. Because my girlfriend is actually Brazilian as well, so this is the reason why I was in Rio during the previous week. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So yeah, to explain a little bit more about so what I do and what do I think we will get more into the exchange and stuff a little bit after, but to explain a little bit more about me and myself. So I had a background which was mainly business initially, and always was passionate about code, tech in general. And so I did Le Wagon in 2019, actually, summer batch in Paris. And so yeah, at the time I was like in between my mood of trying to be either business or developer guys, still trying to find out what I was wanting the most. And in the end, I think I have both profile, but I'm not doing much code actually at the moment, even though I'm constantly talking about the subject, of course, into the project. And but anyway, I have most probably an entrepreneurial background. So I've made 2 companies before this one, and Screenshot is actually the third that I make. And so basically, at the moment, the Screenshot is a game studio for play to earn games. So at Screenshot, we are currently building either the infrastructure for the game and the games themselves. So we are on both sides of the ecosystem. For sure, I do believe it's a super exciting journey right now. At the moment, of course, everything is roofing to the top with all the subjects, basically specifically this one actually. So it's super interesting. So we launched already, just to make a quick introduction, a first game which is called Game of Blocks. And actually, it's really funny because most of the population from the game, not all of it, but I think the most hardcore people are from Brazil, actually. And so we have a really strong community.
Represent.
Yeah, definitely. So we have a really strong community from Brazil, and it's actually super funny to be here today. So yeah, so this is mainly the big point of view, and of course, so right now I've been into the ecosystem with my co-founders for some months. As you said, we try to implement ourselves first from France, but actually my team is coming from either France and the US at the same time. But we are mainly like remote, so actually it doesn't matter anymore into this industry to be abroad and to be global. So yeah, this is mainly it for the quick introduction.
Okay, cool, amazing. This like being global thing. So one of the things that we experienced in Livagon Latin America was, especially with the arrival of the pandemics, was the interest that North American companies, especially in the US, wanted to hire like Latin American developers, so they could hire them for way more than we were paying in Brazil, for example, or in Mexico or in Argentina, and for way lower than they. It's like there's a middle way there where they can pay us 2 times or 3 times what Brazilian developers are getting paid, and still has a good margin. And well, we all know that Brazilian coders are really good. Like we have a Rails core team. We have I don't know, in Rails we have a device that were created by Brazilians. We have Elixir, the programming language that was programmed by Brazilians. So yeah, there's this middle ground. And one of the things that I researched beginning of this year was actually, is there like a freelance platform for blockchain developers where it doesn't matter where the person is based, but they're going to be paid on crypto, regardless of what's the cost of living in the countries that they're based. And I found a couple of interesting projects, actually, 2 or 3, where you could get hired as a blockchain developer to work in blockchain companies or blockchain development companies, no matter where you were based. So yeah, that's the beginning of the future. And why up until, is there a reason why you didn't hire Latin American coders or African coders, blockchain developers, or countries in development that would be a little bit less expensive than they would be in Europe or in the US, or it's just something that you didn't happen? It's like, is there a reason for it, or just like didn't happen?
You mean so there is a reason for? Can you just repeat the?
It's like that your team is mainly of European and
US,
US developers.
Actually, it's just a reason of opportunity. I think, mainly when you launch a company, specifically at the really really beginning, like we were. What has made the difference, like the networking that I could have made initially and before the launch for real for the studio, and the fact that I was in contact with some people that presented to me different people, and out of those people there were like my co-founders that are French, so I actually met them in Paris, but for the first time actually, so I had to create the relation with them and everything. And the one which is in the US actually right now is just mainly because a team that we are currently working with at Screenshot, which is called Potion Projects. Those guys are basically people that came from Marvel, nice. Came from Universal, came from Riot Games as well, people that made actually League of Legends. So those guys actually present our guys that have been helping us over the past few months. and they put me in touch with the best people they could have for every position that I opened on what I had. So I think
cool.
In the end, when we decided to go, global, and I think when you make a company in crypto, it's so much different than any other market, because you don't think locally at all, because it doesn't make sense
At all.
You just think global. So whenever you build something on crypto, you need to think worldwide, straightforward. And it is just it has just been a matter of opportunity, having the chance to meet the good people and having the good fit, and onboarding together.
So my next question is, so it's two things. One, to make the link with what you just answered, because that's a funny thing. It's like, even though when we start something in crypto, it's not global, like it is global, it's not local. You have, like, for example, you just said, like, you have many users in Brazil. So in a certain aspect of it, it becomes local. So you can see, like, markets that are more interested in your product than other markets. So it's like this dilemma of being global, a global crypto company, and at the same time not losing the interest of a geographical region that is using your product. So my question is relating first, could you tell us a little bit more about what is Game of Flux? And second, what do you think? Why do you think Brazilians came to it? And what do you think you can do to keep them or to make it expand in the region?
So actually, it's a funny question, because like initially I would have never thought of Brazil being one of the first, because actually, all our interface is mainly in English actually currently. So this is kind of funny, because actually we didn't even try to convert Brazil in some sense, because I think by being in Rio, but maybe you can cut me if you think I'm wrong, but I don't think like English is so mainstream in Brazil currently. So I even think that if we would make the effort to translate it, to change the language, it would even increase even more the transformation that we could have there, for example. But so about Brazil, so basically, if I can tell you the country that are the most interactive with us, there is 4 countries at the moment that are the most involved. There is like either France, super involved at the moment, Brazil, Philippines, and US actually. So those are the 4 main countries that we have at the moment at our place. And so, I was talking a lot with people from League of Legends before, and they were telling me that the strongest community ever that they had were both in France in terms of gamers and involvement, and Brazil. And it told me like the people in Brazil are super involved into what they do, specifically into the game ecosystem. So I think there is a reason maybe here for that. I couldn't explain it super well. I couldn't explain why, of course, in terms of like why is it so important there. But yeah, I mean, like so but the fact is, it is how it is at the moment, and so of course, in our perspective right now, we just want to make it more easier for people to onboard from on this side. But still, right now, since we are just like just beginning, and just we kick off, the kickoff is just really recent. We just start slowly to build all our organization. Right now, at the moment that I'm talking about, we are completely remaking the land page. So as well, it will help some people to onboard from other countries and stuff later on. But definitely, it's a new kind of constraint that you have in crypto that you don't have in much other business, is that you need to think globally first. But then after as well, you need to think in terms of like, if you want to make focus, you need to define which country, and so in terms of personality as well of the people that you work with, it's super important to have a team, I think, which is international, because to not have too much bias, into the way you interact with the people. And but it's definitely super cool. Yeah.
And could you tell us a little bit more, like a elevator pitch of Game of Flux, like more or less?
Yeah, sure. So basically, Game of Blocks was made in 2018. So actually, it's kind of an OG project, in some sense. At the time, it was kind of made at the same time as Axie Infinity, and so simply Game of Blocks initially for us was just the kickoff of screenshots, and with this we wanted initially to release a collection of NFT that was based on the map and basing on owning lands, and we have made some cool mechanism into the project that was specifically about economics. So whenever they would have sell on secondary market, we would take the fees and we would give them back to the people, to the community. However, since that we had so much intensity at the launch at the beginning, the community made us change our mind into what could be Game of Blocks in the future. So we completely reworked Game of Blocks and we reshape it to make it a play to earn in the end. But and basically as a game, so we currently right now there is many ways of making a play to earn games, but it's still super early, so we still need to work on that. But however, it's we have a main focus right now, which is on making Game of Blocks a play to earn game, and we can actually bootstrap it super fast. So the only bad thing about Game of Blocks in some sense that it went so fast that we didn't have time, to really attach ourselves, make the strategy globally for the game and kick off. It went too strong directly. So we had whenever we had to change it right now, we need to, at the same time as we build it, like currently, like make all the strategy long term, So this is just an adjustment that we make here.
Is it built on Ethereum?
It's on Ethereum. Yeah, it was built on Ethereum initially. I mean, on my side, I don't know if I can say this, but I'm at the moment I'm an Ethereum maximalist.
Okay. I thought you were gonna say a blockchain agnostic. But yeah, I see your point.
I mean, I'm agnostic in general. I mean, it's just I really find some stuff interesting, but for me, Bitcoin, it's a super different thing, right? Because it's more a proof of concept. So it's not really on this ecosystem that we are going to build the future. But Ethereum for me is definitely the most mature at the moment, and so the one that has the most value to me. Whenever you build assets on Ethereum, it has so much more value in my opinion compared to some of the projects at the moment. But however,
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, but however, there are some really cool blockchain that are coming out right now, like Solana, where you have a much cheaper project, much a population which is really different as the Ethereum one, because people in Ethereum are actually the OGs people, the rich people, but there are people like in Solana, for example, that are younger, that made some money out of Solana, and they are much more younger, so the community is a little bit different. So as well, in terms of, like we were talking about the ecosystem in terms of globally, worldwide, the countries and stuff. But even if you change the blockchain, the population that you target is not the same exactly as well. So this is super funny.
So I think it's funny because when we met, when I met Brian, it was the first NFT meetup here in Le Wagon Paris, and we talked a little bit, and we talked. I told you that I was close to what Dapper Labs been doing with Flow, that I've been studying it, that I have a team building something, translating something from Solidity to Flow, and the next NFT meeting that we had was, if I'm not mistaken, the day after that Sorare announced that they raised $680 million. And I think that 2 days later, Dapper Labs announced that they raised like 400 millions at a $7.5 billion valuation. And I was like, what? Like, I mean, I could get used to CryptoPunks being sold by 1 million, but like when companies are valued at 7.5 billion, it's crazy. Like, I mean, at some point you tell yourselves, like, I'm in the right place at the right time, maybe too early even. maybe too early. But it's like, it's amazing. Like yeah, today I answered a call of my uncle asking me like that he wants to build like an electronic ticketing system, and he wanted to build it on EOS. But I was like telling him that either he goes with Ethereum or even Solana, or he goes with Flow. And then like 2 hours later, a friend of mine who's an artist, she called me. It's like, oh, can you help me? I want to launch this NFT project. And I was like, what? It's like, what? I'm getting like 2 calls, 3 calls, and I'm not even working with it yet, yet. Like I've been doing it for a long time, but I'm not working with it, and it's like crazy, like the attention that it's getting and everything. And I mean, I get the feeling that it's like kind of like in the beginning of internet, like that you had all these opportunities that you could build all these things, and everybody was like, oh, the future is going to be like this. Oh, you're going to be able to sell NFTs of your car, and if you don't want to sell your cars, etc., etc. So like I mean, I really admire the work that Dapper has been doing, and how much they've been very focused on gaming and entertainment. I think Solana has been also like investing a lot. Polkadot's also like, I think that they announced a couple of funds to help people to develop it. But it's like, I mean, it's amazing how little there is for a market that's growing as fast as this. So I am all of this to say like, what's your take on this? What do you think? What's gonna happen, Brian? Help us. What's gonna help?
It's a really tough question. No, but honestly, I mean, like, if there is both the objective part in the answer that I could say, and there is the subjective part, right? Into the objective part, I think if we just speak in terms of numbers, so since the beginning of the year, I think the amount of money trade based on NFT, just on the subject of NFT, has been increasing to a level that which is has never been seen ever before. And whenever we were talking about at Le Wagon when we were having the presentation of like at some point in April, when people make his sold of 69 million for the piece of art, everyone was like, wow, this is amazing, this is incredible and stuff. And everybody was thinking it's a bubble. In my opinion, there was a bubble at this time on specifically on art. So this is my opinion. I don't take it as granted, but
more or less when I bought it.
Yeah. but actually, the fact is that at this time, whenever it exploded, the bubble was about non-utility. So people were buying non-utility NFT, not knowing what they were, not knowing, they're not being educated about some people, of course, aren't being educated yet, but not being educated about it. And so people would buy some stuff, some art and stuff, but still, when we speak about art, it's always about the value of the artist, right? And it's not about the utility. And I think there is what I'm thinking right now is that we are just at the beginning, but the context in which we were with the COVID and all those money that was not poured into anything else than assets during the COVID period, and all those money went through the crypto money, and that pumped the market so strongly that actually the market of crypto boomed at a time it was not supposed to. So this is what I'm thinking. So the ecosystem was not ready to accept that, but since it did, right now it's like, there would have been a light that has been brought to the ecosystem, into an ecosystem that was completely being built at the time. So basically, when everyone saw that, it's exactly what you say, is that everyone understand by just understanding what's going on, about the future of blockchain and in general about this mechanism, and the fact that it's decentralized. So anyway, people could not stop it anyway. There is just the regulation part, which is of course maybe the most dangerous aspect of this technology. But even if it would happen, you couldn't stop it. So when you think about this, like it's all about long term. We have been there. All the work that has been done previously about the past 5 to 6 years was just the basic foundation. And now what's going on right now is that there is so much more money that's coming in from the investment fund, from the founders, from so much more time spending on working, on elaborating, on creating, on improving. And so when you see all of this, it's just like you just cannot think of anything else than the gold rush, in some sense, because everybody know, and for sure there is a huge opportunity at the moment right now to come to position yourself and to build something for the long term. So I think it's pretty much what everyone believe at the moment. And of course, like, I mean, it's super hard to define if it's going to maintain. But honestly, for me, it's not a question anymore. Like, I mean, for me, the ecosystem is here to stay. There will just be the country, in my opinion, that will accept blockchain and that will take it into their country to go faster on it. Those countries, in my opinion, will win the bet. And there will be people that will be hard on regulation for crypto. And those ones will actually lose a lot of time because the value is created right now is so high that it would be a huge mistake for someone to if we speak about the regulatory aspect to block the development of something like this. Because in my side, for example, if I can say it, but if at any point the French government would say, okay, so there is a regulatory problem on this, we cannot accept this anymore, I would have no problem leaving the country to take the company somewhere else. And I think so many countries right now we start to be more welcoming for this as well. So in general,
I think for the moment, I mean, I think a lot about this since I've been living here in France. It's basically like, okay, you can do whatever you want with crypto, but when you cash out, you owe me 30%.
Yeah, that's it, right? And but it's still kind of shady here because I mean, like, of course we don't speak about Brazil, but there is this question about the NFT. Is it a piece of art? Is it not? So how do we apply on the NFTs assets the money that has been made over the markets from the exchange? Those are tricky questions, I think. And but still, like what is currently be said at the moment, with Sorare, for example. So I don't know if everyone here knows Sorare, but so which is like in my opinion, one of the.
I think in Brazilian they would say Sorari.
Sorare.
It's, okay. It's a soccer, football. Collecting cards.
And so those guys are genius. Honestly, we cannot say anything else because at the time they did it and the way they did it, it's just pure genius. The momentum was super hard. They did it. Now the reward for them is just like immense. But when you see what they have done and that they are maybe one of the fastest growing startup company in France, you start to think like what could be saying the country right now, would you like to, and there are actually many in France at the moment that are coming out, companies that are into crypto. And so I think as well, no one has interest into being hard in regulation right now because
no, not at all. Like the two I think that the two last unicorns were Sorari and Ledger.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, it's like it's what I've been saying also in Le Wagon Paris. It's like look, something's happening, and France is at the tip of it. So
definitely.
And regarding like games, like so actually, to be honest, I mean crypto. I have a couple of crypto kittens that I didn't tell my wife how much I paid for them, but she found out, and then I told her that for her not to worry because I'm gonna buy apartments for my kids in 15 years with the crypto kitties. They're all generation 0, so we're gonna be fine. And then so Axie Infinity, I always like thought that Axie Infinity was the spaceship game. And then not too long ago, I was like, oh, maybe I should get some Axie Infinity. And then I went to look at it and I was like, oh, no, it's not the spaceships at all. It's those little, it looks like Tamagotchi. You remember from the...
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But it's amazing how much they're transactioning every day and like the number of transactions, because like I think that the first that I saw like reaching a high number of transactions like this was NBA Top Shot when it exploded. Well, they are still in beta. sometimes it could slow down, but the number of transactions is impressive. But it's a private blockchain, right? It's not supposed to be. It's not going to be a private blockchain forever, but it still is, which makes things easier to control. But X Infinity is it's based on it's a layer 2. Is that it?
Yes. So actually, Axie is based on Ronin. So
Yeah, okay.
Ronin is a private blockchain that they developed internally to actually avoid paying all the transaction fees through Ethereum.
But it's in Ethereum, right?
So they are binded with Ethereum because
Okay,
they are assets. If I'm not wrong, they are based in layer 1. But however, the fact is that they made this wallet, from the Ronin wallet ecosystem, to avoid people that would have the assets from Axie Infinity to have transaction fees whenever they would buy it on the secondary market and whenever they would actually exchange it and to give it to someone. Why did they do this? Is because all their economics is based around the fact of generating revenues from the secondary market. So they wanted to try to push as much as they could and to reduce the friction on the secondary market. And I think it works super well. Honestly, it's just quite incredible. And there are some people that are saying, there are some what we can define as a purist, maybe, that were saying, okay, but this is not the real blockchain. People are not really. This is not decentralized and everything. But in some sense, I think today that those were technical arguments. But what matters for this game is not much that everything in the game is decentralized. It's just matter that the assets, maybe you can claim them and decentralize them.
No, but don't you think that's how it starts? Like, it has to start, right? And I don't know, like
yeah.
I used to play this RPG game, and at some point I accidentally killed the owner of this house on the RPG game. And for some reason I wasn't caught, and I started like piling up stuff in this little RPG house, and I used to have like all these things, and like I would like get this, like it was my first house. It's like my first house in ever. So I had all these things, and then I lost it. Like I decorated this house for like months, and I lost it, and I don't even remember the name of the game. So I mean, the idea of having interexchangeable, intercompatible assets, it's just magnificent. And it doesn't matter like if in the beginning it's not going to be cross blockchain. Some part of the game is going to be centralized, some part of the game is going to be decentralized. I mean, we're just like we can't stop, like we can't say that enough. Like, it's still very early. So yeah, it's interesting to see what's going to happen. We have one question from Caio. How do you think that blockchain and cryptocurrency will change the mobile payments around the world and in Latin America?
So how does the crypto will change mobile payments? So I think the question is for me okay. So but for this is the implication of this question is are really large actually. But depending on the way you speak about this, what I think first is that, to me, what's gonna make crypto mass market is whenever today you're gonna be able to connect your wallet through Apple Pay and you're gonna be able to pay with it. This is going to make, whenever Apple is going to decide, okay, let's go for it, and they're going to find a way to make their transaction fees on this thing. But whenever they will be doing such a thing, to me, this is when it's going to be worldwide globalized at some point. before this, if you speak about, okay, so when now you have a wallet and you want to pay and to interact, I think at the moment there is not enough education throughout people to actually use the crypto as an asset to exchange stuff in the real life. Why? Because actually, in my opinion, right now, still like the crypto token and specifically whenever you speak about Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, those are assets that are taking so much value that much of the time people are not willing to exchange them for current process in life. For me, for example, I'm willing to exchange my Ethereum against a piece of art, a game piece, something which is long term, something which is interesting, something which is made by cool people. But I would never buy for example, my pasta with a Ethereum. It would be for me crazy, even though I could, because I have this perception that this is so much more value than the normal value that I don't want to touch it for anything else than creating more value, in some sense. This is my opinion. But I think at some point there will be more education, but it will take more time. People will go more to to USDT or DAI, or those stable coins that are actually maybe that will be the place where people will actually exchange the money from, because it will be stable money. So people will actually take their Ethereum, they will like change it into USDT. It will be stabilized. They will exchange it like a fungible money. But so for me, the payment with mobile phone is not yet here, and I think it will still require some time. And I think even though it would be here already, you wouldn't like to spend your money through your mobile phone on anything actually, because nothing is more valuable at the moment, in my opinion, that to be paid in Ethereum than what you can buy in the Ethereum ecosystem. So like NFT, anything.
Yeah, it's like I keep thinking like while you were answering, I was thinking about two cases. Like one is El Salvador and what they've done. The other thing was a couple of hours ago, I went to buy my kid a gift, and we came to the store, and she shows this really ugly singing dog. I went to the whole store with her to see if she liked anything else, like Star Wars Lego or something like that, and no, she wanted the ugly dog. And when I went to pay, the card didn't go through. So usually what I do is the card doesn't go through, I go to my crypto.com wallet, I charge my card with whatever I want to charge it with. Usually it's Litecoin or Ethereum or something like that, and I paid for it. But so what's my rationale? The minute I get paid with my salary, I buy most of it, Ethereum, Bitcoin, whatever. I stake. I leave a part in USDT or USDC usually, and I stake that. And then if I need money to buy cigarettes, then as when I need it, I take it out. I don't have enough data to calculate if it's worth it or not, but I'm trying to get my mind used to the fact that the world in my mind works with crypto, and that's the currency,
Cool. Typical. So, yeah. So you are full crypto actually right now.
I'm trying to be, yeah. I'm trying to be. No, mostly. I get my salary, I buy my crypto, I buy a little bit of USDC because when I know that there are gonna be like downward movements and stuff like that, I leave a bigger part in a stable coin. But if I can stake with high rewards, why would I end with that I can take out whenever I need? It's like, and I usually do this. I have to go buy cigarettes, and then I'll just take with crypto.com from one thing to the other and buy it. But I don't know if I'm right. I think that's the ideal world that I want to live in.
No, I think this is super relevant to me because I mean, on the long term, you will for sure be winning. And I think most probably if you did this for the past 2 years, you won already.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
So I mean, to me, yeah, for fun. I mean, like, but I don't want to be giving any advice to anyone in terms of
Yeah, no, this is not financial advice. I'm not
investment or whatever, but
yeah.
But yeah, for me, I mean, for sure, you cannot find anything that which is like comparable into the ecosystem. When in the classic ecosystem, when you start to stack money, when you start to use USDT or even like Ethereum, the amount of money you can generate over a year has nothing to be comparable.
I have a very interesting question. Let me try to translate it. It's how do you, so talking about NFTs and blockchain-based games, how can you deal with the natural inflationary pressure of the progression of a game in an environment with a free market? Like, is there any solution that the user, so the user is not like in the hands of, random nerfs from the team, like the game team? Like, how do you deal with the natural progression of the natural inflationary progression in a game with a free market?
So just to be sure to understand, like the question is like,
I think so. What I understood was, if you're in a game with a free market, naturally old users or users from the team are always going to carry an advantage regarding new users, for example. It's like just like crypto, right? A Bitcoin guy who got in 2013, 14, it's always gonna have an advantage over the guy who's coming in 2021.
Yeah, for sure. I think on this, like it's really hard to say because this ecosystem is as well not mature in the sense that for me there are a lot of scam and a lot of people that are here to make a pump and dump, and it's of course less important than in 2017, but however it's still quite important, and based on this, I mean, in my opinion, like the of course, like right now, what is kind of crazy that I think we are still early, and if you get into the good project at the good time right now, and if you spend your energy in the good project, the reward could be immense if you spend your time well, actually, in some sense. So I mean, definitely for me, there are some risk and some odds to try to get into the market, and especially that early right now. If you are not educated, the first thing to do is like to go over every day, to check out, understand better, understand more. As people say in crypto, Dior, just like do your own research. Super important. Not listen to anyone. And whenever you do this, I mean, at some point you can try and not make too much money, invest some time, some money into some stuff that you think are interesting, and to start to be all in the project, because this is the only way to be able to make to get an advantage out of something, in my opinion.
Cool. Okay, so another question. Do you think that decentralized characteristics of cryptos will survive to the nails of the system? Good question. Probably change the whole currency hierarchy. How do you see that happening? Resistance.
So yeah, no. So actually, on this part, I mean, as I was saying, technically, there is no perspective where the crypto could shut down in some sense. So I don't see this happening at all. There is just the problem of regulation. But when you speak about this, as I said earlier, like it's about to be, and some people may don't realize this as well yet, but it's about to be the big topic of this new decade, because like all the country that wouldn't be going deep into it, in my opinion, just my opinion. But I would be happy to have a talk in 10 years from now and see where we landed and what went through this time. But what I can say for sure is that but for me, it's going to be a fight. At the moment, we are at the beginning of it. So everyone is jumping in. A lot of money is being poured. A lot of competent team are going on right now at the moment into the market. And for sure, it's going to be explosive, because if there is another thing that I used to say as well into the ecosystem is that, people, there are a good question about as well, people that are asking sometime, yes, the crypto is cool, but what about the energy consumption, the green aspect and everything? But the thing that people don't understand is actually it's not a subject for this ecosystem, because in my opinion, we are into an ecosystem where you have maybe the highest people in terms of intelligence and dedication that are involved every day to make it a better ecosystem. And all those people have so much money right now at the moment as well, that there is both the dedication, the money, and the involvement from people into this ecosystem at the moment. So if you think in terms of like making this ecosystem more green, this is probably the ecosystem that will make it in 2 years. Where when we speak about some other stuff, if you speak about like,
I mean, even if you take a look at Flow, if you take a look at every other proof of stake, like even Ethereum, maybe. I mean, I've been hearing that for a while, but it's gonna happen one day soon enough. But yeah, it's happening. But yeah, this is like all the green things. Like, come on, we've been here for not long ago, and we have the capability of replacing the global economic petrodollar system. Like, why are you complaining? Wait, just like, hold on, we're getting there.
Yeah, but this is just in my opinion, lack of education, lack of understanding of the situation, and at some point, people will just start to realize that because when I am into it right now, so I can say it out loud, but this is advancing every single day. There is a step being made.
No, not even a day. We say it's like a day is a year in crypto. Yeah, a day is a month.
it's just so tiring for us. Because you need to be strong, fast, execute really good. The team are super competent. There is a lot of money, so there's a lot of
competition too.
Yeah, sure, but there is a lot of room.
It's a very collaborative ecosystem still. But it's like even software development is still very collaborative.
Absolutely.
Let's move to another question. Well, that's a little bit of that's an interesting question, Brian. If your final project in Le Wagon Full Stack Bootcamp was an NFT based game, what do you think is the most important feature to develop? Any other advice?
It's a good question.
I'm also thinking. Okay, let me think about that too.
If I would
abstract. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, if I would, it depends if you want to go hard on this, or it's just for the project of the Wagon. But as everyone normally in the Wagon that asks this question, you're gonna try to make it for real. And then you will realize maybe after you're gonna have to redo it and stuff, but it's fine. Based on what you are asking actually right now, I would say for me there are 4 pillars whenever you build a place or a game into crypto. There is the design part, which is the part where actually the identity of your game, the identity of what you do, the design. So people it's cool, it's attractive, people like it. Right, but this part, just take it away. It doesn't matter. Just make something simple, straight. Just doesn't try to actually play onto the really nice, cool design. Make some stuff that are just simple but cool enough to see, and just to have something which is like functional. Then there is the second part for me, which is after I would say the community, but the community for you, it doesn't matter anymore. So you won't need to work on this pillar, but it's usually a huge pillar for the platform economic. And then there is two other. There is the tokenomics, and there is the gameplay. And so on the tokenomics as well, you are not going to be focusing on this during the wagon. I think it wouldn't make sense, even though you can. But so what I would focus first, in my opinion, would be trying to find a cool gameplay, simple to bootstrap. And whenever you would have done this, I would try to make people try if it's funny, if it's cool. And if it's cool and if it's funny, you start to try to think about in terms of assets and what kind of assets you could build into this ecosystem of the game. And through this, start to build up as well the design, the economics, and all the community that you're gonna have later on. But gameplay for me, if I would have to redefine the way that we would have done the thing here, is that I would go first for a gameplay, and then I would try to build the game around the rest around this from the start.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. Nice question, nice answer.
But you didn't answer actually, Pedro.
I didn't answer. No. Okay, no, your answer was so complete. I was gonna say like try to abstract, because this is one of the things that, I mean, from the students that I had that were interested in working with blockchain, it was like at the beginning, like abstract the blockchain part, because blockchain in the end of in the end is just how a database without power, without centralization should look like. So it's basically a database. So a database, you don't need to build a blockchain to use a database. You can just build a database and you use it. And then, so you abstract the question. The amazing part of blockchains is the decentralization. It's the fact that Facebook doesn't need to own all the things that you post on Facebook, that you're the owner, that money doesn't belong to banks anymore, it belongs to you, and so on and so on. So for like software development, I would say always start lean, and if you want to start lean, you just start with the database, abstract the blockchain part. You can think about it, you can consider it, you can even mimic it for demo purposes or for MVP purposes. And then when you need to plug a blockchain on it, then you plug the blockchain on it. But I mean, at the beginning, there's no reason, unless it's the most crucial, not even if it's the most crucial part, because you can abstract it to start get traction, and then you can plug it in. So whenever you need. So yeah, I would say that. We have another question here. Let's say this question and another one. So it's like 10:52 here in Paris. In Rio, you're young and you're fresh, and it's not that cold. So Eva is asking, beautiful name, Eva. That's the name of my older kid. What are the most important differentiating factors between one project and another, judging for future success? Okay. Did you get that?
So could you just repeat, sorry?
So I think the most important differentiating factors between one project and another. I think what makes one project more successful than the other, in your opinion?
Into blockchain?
I think, yeah.
It's
no, I don't think in blockchain. I think but I'm sorry. My interpretation is like between between a blockchain project and another, not between one blockchain and the other.
But I mean, the question is really broad, so actually it's really hard to give I think a correct answer. But if
there's
you speak
no correct answer.
if you speak about the blockchain in general, I would say it's a market that goes really fast. So what makes the difference is how fast you are, at execution, and how fast you are at detecting opportunities. Because taking an advantage of if you detect early, you can go early, but then you need to execute early as well, because people are really, really fast to copycat, to execute, to take inspiration from. So I just the advice is not easy, but I would just like but be ready for a big journey in terms of investments. Whenever you, what makes the difference for me is the dedication, like a good team, good dedication, knowledge as well. People that know how to build solidity, know the problematics about blockchain as well, because it's not the same for sure. So, but there is many more. It's an entrepreneurial journey in the end, right? So you have many problematics to be facing from. It's a big topic.
Yeah, my suggestion will always be like ship fast. Ship fast. Don't ship the perfect idea. I told there's a friend who's also here today. It's like ship fast. You don't need to ship perfect. Like ship fast, and then iterate on it, and then you can ship on a newer version. Look at the NBA Top Shot. Like they exploded and they're still in beta. Like it's just like I don't know. The day before yesterday, Patrick Ewing, for those of you who don't know, is like a basketball player from New York Knicks on the 90s, I think, like huge, super important. Posted something like, "Oh, my friends, I had a problem buying NBA Top Shot drop," and the CEO of Flow of Dapper Labs answered like, "We're still in beta. Like, thanks for your patience. We're doing our best." And I know people working there, and they are like doing an amazing work, and it's fantastic. But they're still in beta. Everything is in beta. Crypto is in beta.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, be patient. Time will come.
And it's hard actually to ask for people in blockchain to be patient, because it's the exact contrary of their own nature. Everyone is so impatient in this ecosystem for everything. So, and specifically in game as well, like we see it, but not people are not impatient, but you need to be clear about the roadmap, where you go, what you do, and then it makes things much more easier.
Yeah, don't go for the buzzword, right? Like don't think you need to build your product in blockchain just because it's a buzzword. Don't think you need an NFT just because it's the hype. It's like, try to understand how it could help your project and use it on the parts that it can actually help your project.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. So I just wanted to mention the other. So we're doing this crypto week in Rio. So I think today is the second class, like second event. And we're still gonna have data analytics applied to crypto tomorrow. Then APIs applied to crypto on Thursday, and then machine learning applied to crypto on Friday. So you're all welcome to come. It's like it's very entry level. It's not that like we try to show it's a bit more learn by doing, but then subjective talks like the one that we had today. But yeah, you're welcome to come. Brian, thank you so much for being here at it's almost 11 p.m. here in France. And I didn't resist. I brought a glass of wine, but congratulations on resisting.
I'm taking a tea actually, because
and thank you so much for coming. Keep in touch. If you wanna send them a contact, if you want to contact me so I can relay questions to Brian, feel free. If you want to come to Paris to an NFT meeting, Brian's the guy. We'll be here. You can ask questions for me, Milene, Victor, whoever from the Levagon Brazil team, Levagon Latin America. We're always going to be here to answer you. Thank you so much. Do we have another question? Last one here. Oh, he came too late. Okay. Yeah, maybe it's too late. I'll leave this question. If Brian, yeah, maybe it's a bit too late, Lucas. I'll be happy to answer you or to relay your questions to Brian in another time. Okay. Thanks so much, Brian. Thank you
Cool.
so
Thank
much,
you very much.
everybody, for coming. Keep in touch. Take care.
Okay.
See you guys.
And it's done.